on, Chuck?
Hi.
What the fuck?
It's going fine, Mr. Chan.
It's to my attention that you were diagnosed with anxiety.
Yes, sir.
Is that right?
That is correct.
Okay. So when were you first diagnosed?
Last year, around this time, on a Wednesday, I believe.
Okay. Was it like a self-diagnose?
No, it was not a self-diagnosis. I was actually diagnosed. I do have the papers. It's just not with me, so I can't prove that. But I was actually diagnosed.
Really? By a doctor?
Yes, by a doctor. Who else?
How was your first experience like?
Yeah, me and my parents were running errands, and then I was sitting in the back of the car, just going over my future and multiple other things. And then I started grasping for air like I was out of breath, even though I was doing nothing. My mother turned around and saw the predicament that I was in, and my stepdad saw it too, and we rushed to the hospital. My stepdad was going about 80 miles an hour, like all the way. That did not help the situation at all.
Mm-hmm. So what happened next?
Well, we got to the hospital, and my stepdad told me to wait in the car. Him and my mother went in, and he came out with a wheelchair because I couldn't move. Like, my feet felt weak, so did every other part of my body, and I didn't understand what was going on, and neither did they. Yeah. So that's how serious they thought it was, because nobody knew what was going on. I just started freaking out in the back of the car, and I couldn't move all of a sudden. So, you know, I guess the wheelchair was a response to that.
Yeah.
But when I got inside, the doctors did their basic tests. They sat me down. They did my vitals, and the doctor told me that there was nothing physically wrong with me. So he was looking at me like I was crazy or something, because, you know, a kid came in not being able to move in a wheelchair, and his vitals are totally fine. Like, you know, I would understand why he thought I was crazy. So then he started asking me these questions that led up to the diagnosis of anxiety, which is what I have today.
And how'd that make you feel?
I felt like it was coming, because ever since I changed my mindset towards my future and what I wanted to do with my life, I'm talking about the entrepreneur mindset.
Yeah.
I was constantly, over that whole year, I was just constantly overthinking up until that point. And I think that my old self, like how I thought previously before I changed my mindset, I felt like it was catching up to me. And that whole year, I was doing my best not to revert back to my old self. And I think that day, it finally caught up to me. The doctors said what was happening with me that day is I had a panic attack. I didn't know what that was, because I never had a panic attack. I was always seen as the chill guy, you know, who was mellow, didn't really, or he had like basically free care in the world.
Yeah.
So it was, I mean, it was weird, but I saw it coming.
Yeah. So, you do understand that everyone is dealt a different hand in life, and you may not have the advantages that another person has.
Yes, I do understand that now. Back then I didn't. That's why I was overthinking. I was so caught up in all of these other young entrepreneurs having so much success, and I'm over here telling myself, what am I doing wrong? Why am I not in their shoes?
Yeah. Okay. Do you take any drugs to regulate your anxiety?
Personally, no.
Lying ass.
Just kidding. No, I don't take any drugs, and there is a reason for that. The doctors did obviously offer that route. They offered me two routes. One, I did it the natural way. The other was drugs to help me regulate my behavior. But there are certain reasons why I didn't want to go through with that, because all my life, some of my family members and some of my friends, they have been diagnosed with something mental, and they were prescribed pills which changed their whole personality, and I didn't want that happening to me.
Mm-hmm. So how do you deal with it?
I deal with it with two types of breathing exercises, in and out, or 1, 2, 3 breathe, 1, 2, 3 breathe, and usually that calms me down.
And that keeps it under control?
Yes, for the most part it does.
Okay, so how are you coping with it these days?
I'm spending a lot of my time not overthinking, actually putting my words into actions, taking a single day off in a week, not overworking myself, hanging out with friends, and being more open about myself. Oh, and I tuned my brain down, if that sounds weird in any way, to where I could think slower.
Okay, so I got one question then.
Yes.
Yeah, how do you think slower?
Think what?
Slower.
What?
You're good.
Yep. Okay.
So do you have anything to say to the young entrepreneurs or other people who are struggling with anxiety?
Yes. Get over it. I'm just kidding. Obviously, seek professional help if that's the path that you want to go towards, and don't forget, you're not alone in this world. We're only human, and it's not our fault that we have these uncontrollable feelings. They're bound to happen in life, whether you're rich, poor, white or black, it doesn't matter.
All right. Well, thanks for being here.
No problem. Glad to be here. I do live like 2 feet away from this spot, so
I mean, it is my home too.
I mean, but Yeah. Have a nice day. Have a nice day. All right, that's a wrap.
Hi, Chuck.
Hey.
What's up? How you been?
Not much. I've been doing fine.
Alright. I'm just gonna get, right to the questions. So, when were you first diagnosed?
Hold on.
What the fuck is this? There's no backstory. What the fuck's that? Just when were you first diagnosed? You had a lot of.
What are you doing?
What the fuck is that?
Yes. Deal with it. I'm just kidding. I mean, this is my house, so This is.
Don't have to be an asshole.
I live right there. All right.